I'm Jack, and today I'm here to tell you about the word octagon. Now, octagon is an amazing shape that has 8 fantastic sides and 8 awesome angles. Here, let me show you. Oh, no. Oh, man! I totally forgot to bring an octagon. This is embarrassing.
Welcome back to another episode of Jedi Academy. We're on episode 4 today, and joined with me is Warrior. Warrior, if you want to say hello to all your fans.
Hey, what's happening, guys? It's Team Instinct.
Then we've got Ranger. Say hello to everybody.
Hello to everybody. I am Ranger J 1999. I'm the better part of everybody.
Shape that has 8 fantastic sides and 8 awesome angles. Here, let me show you.
Okay, and Grande, if you wanted to say...
Oh, man! I totally forgot to bring an octagon.
Someone's got the... Someone's listening to the stream.
Are they?
Yeah.
Is it Grande?
Probably.
Oh,
Welcome back to
Grande.
another episode of Jedi Academy. We're on episode 4 today, and joined with me is Warrior. Warrior, if you want to say hello to all your fans.
Hey, what's happening, guys? It's Team Instinct.
So, Grande, are you there? We've got Ranger. Say hello to everybody.
Hello to everybody. Did we
I
lose
am
Grande?
Ranger
J 1999. I'm the better part of. He said he had to buy milk, but I didn't mean he literally buying it right now.
He's probably had to go, he's probably been busted again for his Wi-Fi connection. And Grande?
Yeah, I know. That's what happens when you steal government Wi-Fi. These things happen.
And today again, we've got Bella with us.
Hi, I'm Bella.
Are they?
Some call me Dark Bella.
Is it Grande?
Nice
That's
to be
right.
with you guys.
She's come to the dark side of the good. The force is strong with you.
Hey, what's happening, guys? It's Team Instinct.
So, again, we're back with Jedi Academy. So what that means is that you're going to give us the questions. We're going to answer it, but make sure they're kind of constructive questions, that you're giving us all the information of what you've got. So, for example, if you're saying, who should I farm? Let us know who you're farming. If you're asking who's better, give us a descriptive of who you're using and why. And then we can then answer it as best as possible. So as Grande's absent, probably busted again, Grande, we're going to go on. We haven't got any questions at the moment, so what do you guys want us to discuss? You take that away while we have a little discussion. Nihilus event, what is your thoughts on this?
About the packs. Let's talk about the Citadel pack. Yeah.
The Citadel packs.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you're quite a big whale. You're quite a big whale, aren't you? Did you buy any?
You and Grande are both have whalish tendencies, so discuss.
Yeah, I'm a blue whale-ish of sorts. I'm pretty big.
What, like Free Willy?
Yeah, I have a free-to-play account though, to kind of maintain my roots. And every once in a while, if I just want to be frustrated at the game, I'll go into my free-to-play account and play Galactic War.
I didn't buy any.
No. Did you buy any, Ranger? We know you love packs.
Yeah, we talked about this on the first stream last time. No, I did not buy this pack, nor will I ever buy this pack.
What about you, Warrior? Did you buy any? Did you have a little sneak peek?
Not a single pack, and I'm telling you, man, I love the game. I don't mind spending money. I have a budget. I think a lot of people have a budget, and they, going to go out for the weekend and spend some time doing X, Y, or Z, and they have a budget for it, and I have that, and I didn't want to spend any of it. It actually demotivated me to spend money. That's kind of surprising. I've never had a game demotivate me before.
Yeah, it was not a good pack. It was just we had Finn bring down the cost of it by category. I don't know why he did that, but yeah, it just wasn't. I don't know. My thoughts on it was it just wasn't well thought. It kind of was. It was one of those things where you're like, are they trying to push the envelope of trying to get money here, or what is it that they're thinking? Because, we compared it to like the Boba Fett pack and actually the ship pack that had come before, the Thai whatever pack, and for the bang for your buck, for the amount of crystals you're having to pay for just getting just that amount of shards and stuff that came with it. It was like, this is not a very good investment.
Oh no.
So this is my deal. You invest, and I think that some people might need to mute their mics when I'm talking. 'Cause it's a lot of feedback. But when you're buying in the game, you buy based on the currency valuation they've established, right? So there's a digital or virtual currency, and that's crystals. And we all know that it's 50 crystals for one shard if you buy out of any of those previous packs and stores and things like that. And if it's a premium tune like Sunfac or whatever, when he was only pay to play, in the store, you had to pay 80 crystals for one shard. It was like 360 or whatever for four, right? So they create this artificial valuation of sorts, and so it's 50 for regular troops and 80 for others. And then even if you go and buy their packs, like their Ewok pack they have now, you're guaranteed 14 shards minimum. And if you buy the pack, you really get 21, that. So you're getting them for about 50 piece, and it's ran. Whenever they say in a pack that something's a bonus, that means it can't be put in the valuation because it's a bonus. That means it's above and beyond what you're actually paying for. So you can't. People are like, well, they gave us credits, and they gave us blah. Stop. That's a bonus. That means that's additional. That's extra. That's a gift. So that can't be used in the valuation. So you take that out of the picture, and these last packs were 5. And we all know through the opening that you showed on your channel that the packs we're opening 5 per character. That's 300 crystals per shard when a premium tune is 80 crystals per shard. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that they have inflated the rates 6 times over for these new tunes. And I'm sorry, but I'm not. There's no tune in this game, no character in this game, to me, worthy of spending 6 times what their already inflated rates were on the character. So I was frustrated because honestly, I wanted to dump a little bit of money, get the character early, have it in the arena, play with it, show my my leaderboard, what they were and how to defeat them. And they're not going to get to see that, and I probably won't either because nobody's willing to spend that kind of money. So I hope they do a reassessment, relook at it, and reprice these things.
Definitely. Well, the good thing that come out of it was the kind of transparency that what they're going to be doing and what they're planning to do with the characters. Like, it does sound like that they're going to be keeping these kind of priced packs at the beginning, and you're going to have pretty much 3 tiers of players. You're going to have ones that are going to buy these packs straight away, because there will always be someone that's going to buy them. There's always going to be someone that wants them, someone wants to add them before everybody else. So it's giving you that kind of exclusive compared to how like a Ferrari is, in real life, that you've got someone that's got a Ferrari, you've got someone that wants a Ferrari, but then will go and buy a pre-owned Ferrari because it's cheaper, for example. And that's just normally how life works. And then they're going to put them into after that 4 to 6 weeks, and they're going to be putting them into chromiums or exclusive packs, and then they're going to go to the free to play. But they haven't specifically said or guaranteed where they're going to go for the free to play, so it could go into a hard node, cantina, shipments. They just said it will be one of them. What's your thoughts on that kind of happening? I'll start with you, Warrior.
So I'm excited about that. I mean, that I did do a video on, and like you, what I said was it kind of creates this conveyor belt and of sorts that we know that in 2 to 3 months, every tune's going to be available to farm. Now, I get a lot of pushback from people. They're like, hey, free to play doesn't mean that it's on Node 9B. Short play. I have to disagree because unfortunately we use these classifications and you have to classify. And by definition, if you it, but I know you're saying it's hard to farm. It's an unavailable character. But I would get pushback again and say, listen, you couldn't get Emperor Palpatine the first time the event came, probably, if you weren't developed enough. You had to build up and struggle and develop characters, and that's part of the game. That some things, even if they're free to play like Yoda, you can't access until you develop certain characters well enough. So just because you can't do 9B yet doesn't mean that it's not free to play. I couldn't get Jedi Knight Anakin for a long time because I couldn't get to his node. And so he was free to play. He is free to play, but it just took for me to develop well enough to get to his node. So yeah, is there some time delay in this game? Of course, nothing's instant. And if they were putting everything on node 1B, I think that would actually take some of the fun out of the grind of those events to get your characters up and stuff. But I do see what they're saying. If everything goes onto a 9-level node, it's going to make it really, really frustrating for those mid-level players who
Definitely.
want access to these other characters.
Yeah, no, we'll start with Darth Vader next. Ranger, were you heavy breathing?
Not me. I have my mic muted.
Okay, someone's breathing, like, they go... Anyway, what do you think of this whole kind of, like, transparency of going, the kind of, like, timeline and period?
Oh, you talking me or? Oh, okay, sorry. You threw me off with the whole Darth Vader breathing thing. I'm like, it's not me. I think it's good. I mean, they're just saying what was already pretty much, as Warrior stated, what the state of the game was anyway, right? You had people that buy characters right off the bat. You had some that would invest maybe for certain characters, and then you have some that are just totally free to play. I don't think that there's really any debate about that, or anybody not saying that that's not the case. I think it's just a matter of going back to that, some of the things that they said, with the events, the special events that they'll have for the live, for the really special characters, which I don't know if every free-to-play person will be able to do it. Depends on what they make the event. Do they make the event like Yoda was when it first came out, where it was really hard and you had to really have a little bit of luck with RNG to get it, even if you have the characters? Or is it going to be like the Emperor Palpatine event, where you do have to have certain characters unlocked and geared, but it wasn't as difficult as the Yoda event? So that part kind of piqued my interest more. Like, okay, which special characters are you going to be releasing? I would like to know. Will everybody have a chance for them if they have characters unlocked? And I do agree with that. You have to have certain tunes unlocked, just like you needed Rebels for Palpatine and Jedi for Yoda.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see where they go with that. But I think if they're going to go with this tier system, they have to make the packs viable. You can't just expect Wells or anybody to spend any kind of money on a game if you're not getting your bang for your buck. I don't care about who's where or what tier. If the pack's not good, they're not going to buy it. It's that simple.
What do you think of this, Bella?
I was saying that it's a kind of test, maybe, how much we are willing to pay, and they will evaluate it. And what we need is patience. We are free to say no, of course. It's just we are all a bit addicted, aren't we?
No.
No.
I don't know. I love Star Wars. I love everything Star Wars. It binds us. It brings us together.
I have a completely different perspective on the pack.
Okay.
What if the pack is not even meant for us at this inflated price?
Yeah,
what if the pack was meant to do two things? The pack was, one, as a company, all publicity, negative or positive, is good publicity. And I mean outside of our little community that plays this game. You had huge tech YouTube channels focused on this game. So what if the whole reason for this pack at this crazy inflated price is to get publicity? The second one is, what if this pack at this hugely inflated price is to be on the top 10 most grossing apps on both Google Play and Google and the App Store? And the way to do that is to have this price point. So they're trying to do this. So this pack has everything to do with marketing and advertising outside of the game, and it was not meant particularly to be a pack that many players actually bought.
No, definitely. I definitely agree with that.
I know that sounds so strange to think about it that way, but that's the end result, right? I mean, the end result has been those two things.
It's like
if they're looking for downloads, what a way to get downloads.
Yeah, definitely, it's publicity. But what I found with the Star Wars franchise, and this is purely on experience, and especially now that it's now changed hands from Lucas, Star Wars is expensive. Licenses is expensive. They're not. It's
Yeah, they
just
paid over $4 billion just for the rights from George Lucas.
and then just think what they've done with it since. You've had Rebels, that's more income, more shareholders. You've got Rebels, you've got toys, you've got the new movies. So characters could be a lot more expensive license wise compared to the older characters that were the more generic that nobody really kind of like, they've given us General Kenobi for free. I'm sure that wasn't free on their sides because they would still have to pay for a license and pay for its and bits. Everything costs money. And they have to create it, they create these events. So maybe this is a way that how, as a company, that it's not about overall greed, it's about staying afloat so the game doesn't get shut down. Where people will buy these packs, then people will buy chromiums, and then just kind of putting tiers into it. But that's really my kind of 2 cents on it. That is this a way that for the game to stay viable and stay around, is it something that the business has to do?
I don't know. We'll see what happens from this one pack where they go forward with it.
Yeah,
because
see how it goes.
because
Really.
granted brings it could be marketing, but if nobody's buying anything, period, then not very effective. You could have done the same thing with a better pack and still made a profit. So it's curious to see what their thinking was on that.
Right, so we're going to go on to our first question now, because we've talked about the topic. So let's go into questions. I'll probably focus this one straight away to Worry, and you can all then give your opinion, but this one is a tough one. So this is from Picon, and he's in my kind of guild. So hello, Picon. You guys going to tell us how to beat the Ground War bonus tier. I'm going to start with Worry, because I know recently you made a video yesterday, but I didn't get a chance to watch it yet. Did you beat it?
So I did the regular tier relatively easily, and finished with most of my protection on all my characters. And then I figured I'd make a separate video for the bonus tier. I could get to the level 8 and I couldn't beat it. And so I haven't put a video out because I want to beat it. My theory was the same as yours, that essentially you use that special ability on Rey and she, double and triple mollywops your way to victory. Yeah. Is when these characters get their turns, they get so many bonus attacks that they take away all of the protection and eventually to your health and kill you. And so part of my problem or struggle is that really I wish I had Rey Zeta'd so I had that daze. And then the second part is most of my characters, their abilities were at level 3. Level 3 doesn't help much when you have Ewok Elder in there and it's 15% health, because I have it at level 3 instead of level 7. And so I really, like a lot of people, underdeveloped certain characters, haven't spent a lot of time on them. I struggled. I got to round 8. I did it 4 times going to round 8, and I died every single time at round 8. So I'm really not the guy to help. I thought your video was excellent in walking people through how to use that new special ability. I actually took a lot of flack because I don't use T-Bow hardly ever. And at the end on round 8, my T-Bow took away the turn meter of Dooku, and he didn't counter attack, and I was like, what the heck? He didn't counter. And of course he was stealth. Duh. That's a basic stealth mechanic. And I'm like, how come he didn't counter? I was just caught up in the moment. I do those things live, so that's kind of funny. But so I didn't give very good advice. I figured out the second time around, the one that I didn't, that when they buff those little robots that are flying, if you can kill them fast enough, they will not have time to buff the B2s. But if you can't kill them fast enough, they flash and the B2s get that overcharge. So you got to kill them. The second thing is if the overcharge goes into play, then all you have to do is use your T-Bow to strip that entire buff away from them. And it strips the entire buff away. So there are some little best practices, using T-Bow stealth and ability to dispel, and you don't have to worry about the counters as much. But at the end of the day, you need gear 11 with all abilities at level 7, preferably if you have Rey Zeta'd, and then you probably will zip right through it. But for everybody else, which is the other 96%, you're probably not going to do the bonus tier this time until you have a chance for it to come back around in a couple of months and have these characters more well developed.
Yeah, see, I thought on that, and specifically that it's not about having Ugnaught. Ugnaught's good for that kind of like that stun that he's going to be able to do. But a lot of the times you've got B2s in there. But what I found is what ideally was going to be like Ray, Resistance Trooper, because Resistance Trooper is going to get that 100% turn meter from any time that Poe or anyone else puts any exposed down. He's going to get 100% turn meter. He can dispel as well. So he's your dispeller if you've got Tebow lead, for example. I think adding the Resistance Trooper would go a lot more than having, say, Ewok Elder or Ugnaught. Can you see that probably play out?
Yeah, if you have Resistance Trooper, see, that was the thing. That's one of my few suits that it's way low.
Same. I've got him. I still need to gear him. I still need to 7-star him, but he's close. He's close. But we'll move on to Ranger. How have you found the event with your Ugnaught, Ranger?
I refuse to answer that question on principle. I will not be using Ugnaught. How dare you, sir? I do have I haven't done it yet. I'm getting ready to. I just did a real quick run through just to see how it played out. But I do have Resistance Trooper pretty well geared and level. Poe, Ray, with Tebow too, because I use Tebow a lot. So I just have to go in and do it. I'll easily clear the first part, but I'll have to go probably look at the so how they did on heroic to see how you clear it. Because if Warrior's struggling, then I'm like, oh Lord. But I do have Resistance Trooper and them pretty leveled and geared, so I might be able to knock it out since those are the pieces. I'm thinking of adding Chirpa to the mix, mainly for the things that they can do. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I like the fact that they make it hard because that's the challenge of it. That makes the game a lot better when it's instead of just easy walkthrough.
Definitely.
Yeah, I like that better too.
Yeah. So how have you got on, Bella?
Well, I die round 1.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
I just developed Tebow, but no resistance, so just Tebow can't survive.
Grande the whale, are you in here?
Yeah, I'm in here. Yeah. So I'll tell you. It seems like we get a lot of flack. Either everybody's like, "Oh, I autoed these events," or "Oh, it's too hard." It's like it's like what happened to just right? There's never a just right. But I'll tell you, the first one was relatively simple, the regular one. I actually stopped and retreated on the first one and went back so I could try to understand the mechanics a little bit better, because we saw some things we hadn't seen before. We saw the shield generator droids that I had never seen before. Maybe somebody else had.
No, I've never
And then I just wanted to kind of figure it out a little bit, and kind of what their abilities were like. So I actually beat the first tier with my Gear 10 Ugnaught, because of course I have to have a Gear 10 Ugnaught going to Gear 11. I will tell you that it is possible to use Ugnaught, but you have to know what you're doing with Ugnaught. You have to be able to save his special and do some other things. It's a really bad choice, in my opinion. The better choice would be Tebow, Ray, Poe, Resistance Trooper, Resistance Pilot, Finn, those kind of characters. The only two that the Tebow and Ewok Elder seem like maybe the only two characters that are that would work as far as for the Ewoks. I could be wrong, but I haven't had a whole lot of. I know that that Ewok Scout has some turn meter reduction when you're getting way high up there, and then Chirpa can speed up and heal, but I'm not sure it's enough.
Definitely.
The second event I've tried and kind of been like Warrior and gotten to round 8, and then so maybe I lost the guy round 7, and then round 8 was really kind of a bloodbath because I lost the guy round 7. So I think that if there's a way that we, it's just like some of these other events where if we kind of figure out the mechanics, figure out the new ability, and when it's good to use that ability, I think that we're kind of working through that we'll be able to figure it out. It's just it might take me a couple of hours this morning to get the right RNG, figure out the mechanics with my team, and you are. you're gonna have to be, level 85. You're gonna have to be gear 10, gear 11 on those characters. You're gonna have some relatively decent mods, and you're gonna have to have the abilities up there.
Yeah.
Two of my friends yesterday were talking about. They said, "Oh, I did it with Finn Zeta, and it was so easy." And I was like, "Really? Finn Zeta just like made it for you?" And then another guy was saying the same thing about Ray. He's like, "Oh, I have Ray Zeta, and Zeta Ray really made the difference for me." So I think there is a little bit of a little bit where that kind of stuff is going to make a huge difference. If you wanted to, or had the ability to Zeta Ray or Zeta Finn, and you knew you were going to use it a bunch later, maybe now might be the time.
Definitely. Yeah, no, if you've got that Zeta Finn, then yeah, you're probably going to fly through it. It's the same as having Gear 11 Rebels for the Rebels event. When you can use clones, you're just going to fly through it, or even if you had the Zeta clones, you're going to kind of fly through it that way. What was you going to say there, Bella?
I read of one who put 11 million credits in and still didn't win it.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Don't be wasting your credits, guys. If the benchmark, if you can get through the first tier, okay, if you can do that, if you watch my video, watch Warrior's video, watch some videos on it about if you've got Ray, use the special stand aside and just keep spamming that, because Ray will keep doing a special. She will keep getting to her meter. She's the hardest hitting one in the team, so that's who you want to be using. Don't be going out wasting all your credits for this. This is something that's going to have to build up in time. It's not something that you may not do, and you could be in a situation where you're spending 20 million credits and you're still not being able to do it. The rewards are 1 million credits, I think it was 1.1, and a few shards. So it's something that will it will come back like the other events. There is no rush in beating it. There is an achievement for 10 Vader shards and 5k ally points, if I can remember. But the same as most events, it may take time. Build a resistance team, come back if you're unable to beat it. Don't waste all your credits. That could be more resources in other areas like the arena or other events like the new Sith event that's coming, or the new First Order event that looks like it's going to be even harder by the description. Would you guys agree on that?
Agree.
Yeah, absolutely. I will tell you that early on, I could remember like plowing a couple $100 trying to win that the Empire Emperor event when it first came around. Where we had to end with Emperor Palpatine with the 5 royal guards. And after I did it and after I completed it, I was like, that was a complete waste of resources. So just patience.
Was that the Emperor Palpatine event?
Yeah. No, it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't the Emperor Palpatine event. It was like Rebels fight, attack back. There's a challenge for it where it wasn't for Palpatine.
It was the Rebel event, wasn't it? The military might.
Military might. Thank you. That's its name.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was a very poor choice after the fact.
Definitely.
During the time, I was like, I have to have this thing. Afterwards, I was like.
Yeah,
afterwards,
no, if it was
choice.
a 7-star character, so if it was a brand new 7-star separatist character, then it's definitely worth it, because these events, then you're going to get a whole character, but you're only going to get a few shards from this, and a minuscule of the monies that you're going to be putting in through credit. So if you're putting in all these credits into gearing all this team and you're still not able to beat it, then it's gear, and it does come down to gear, and it does come down to the right characters, unfortunately. And the selection of what we've got against the separatists is, it's resistance, which probably most people don't currently have. You have got Ugnaught and some Ewoks in there, but I don't know. I would have thought it would have been clones, but they were used against the Empire event, weren't they? Let's have a look. So we're going to go on to our next question, because that one was quite a lot. So, actually talking about clones, are Zeta clones good for the arena? Has anybody here got any experience with some Zeta clones?
So I'll get a guy on my shard that's running a Zeta Cody and a Zeta 5s, and he rotates between Cody and GK on that team. And I'll tell you, he drops. It's similar in a lot of ways to a droid team. He says that team is amazing on offense, but he drops kind of far on defense.
Yeah.
At least that's been my experience with.
Definitely. What
Rain,
about you?
what do you guys think?
I haven't seen anybody running on my shard that team, and I mean I'm working on clones right now, so I haven't seen or read or heard anything as just a dynamic team. I mean, clones are awesome. Don't get me wrong, but for arena, I don't see it. And when we looked at the meta report, that was that they weren't even sniffing anywhere in the top 10 of anything. Not even just characters used. So I think that kind of speaks for itself.
What about you, Warrior?
I have one guy, his name's Penguin, and he has an all clone team he's used in the past. And his clone team, fully maxed out, is like 51,000 arena power, and he's got some really phenomenal mods on everybody. And in the past, when he put his all clone team in, it was really, really, really difficult to beat. And I kept thinking to myself, this was right as the Zetas were coming out. I hope to God he never decides to Zeta Cody as the leader and never put the Zeta on fives, because I believe that if you take the All Clones team and you put the Zetas on those two characters and you have the right mods, I do believe that it's top 10 viable all day, every day. He is always in our top 5 every day, and he doesn't drop much. He might drop, 1 or 2 positions, and that's it. So I just feel like that, if you do it right with mods, that team can be very viable if you have the Zetas.
Definitely. What about Bella? Have you seen any clone squads yet?
Not in my shard, but I'm quite new compared to you.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So with the experience that I've seen of clones, yes, they are arena viable, from what I've seen, because this is the biggest thing to it. There is no counter to gaining protection. There's counters to health. There's counters to everything else currently really in the game, but there's nothing currently stopping them gaining that protection. So every time they're going to use a basic attack, they're going to gain protection. So that's pretty much where anybody, so even that Krennic's got this as a lead as well. It's powerful because there's nothing currently around that can stop it. There's no counter to it. It's just pure DPS and try and take them down, ability blocks, but they're still going to be gaining protection. The clones will. Would you agree with that, Warrior?
Yeah, and what's even worse is the clones came out kind of mid-game, like 6 months ago-ish kind of thing, as far as like when they became popular to try and get. And so the problem is they don't have all of the new crazy abilities that everybody else has. They only have like, 2 or 3 abilities. And so what that does is actually it's in their favor. They've got, maybe 3 abilities, and 2 of them have cooldowns. So what happens is they end up using 3 out of 4 turns, they're basic, and that means they're constantly regenerating protection. I have Jen, and she does the protection regeneration, and it doesn't work anywhere near as efficiently as the clones, because hers is stipulated, on them having to gain 5% every time they get a buff, and so then you have to have Chase and that whole combo and stuff, and I just don't see it working as well as the clones. So yeah, I like it. I think that the mechanics worked perfectly, because if the characters had like 2 specials and a unique and blah blah blah, then they may not use their basics as often, not be as effective. But because of the limited specials on that team, it actually triggers far more often.
Definitely. So what we'll do, we'll move on to the next question, and this is one from Matt, where it's got, is Zam Wessel good? I think she is OP. So who wants to take this? Do you want to take this, Warrior? Because I know Sam Wessel is very kind of rare for most of us. And do you have any
I have her here 9, 7-star, and I got her abilities up to like level 5. I don't really have a lot into her, but she's pretty fun. She's very fast. She has actually been reworked since she was originally brought out. If you've got her completely and utterly maxed out and on the right team, she's fun. She's kind of like Han Solo. It's one of those utilitarian characters that if you do it right with the right setup, she really can be pretty viable. But you've really got to set that deck properly to make her viable. You can't just take her and throw her into any old team and expect her to be good like Royal Guard or someone like that.
Definitely.
She's a specialist.
Yeah, she needs really a Boba lead, really. That's where she's going to benefit the most from. is from a Boba Fett lead if you were running a bounty hunter squad. And then she can be really powerful with all them thermos and that turn meter gain and speed and everything that you're going to get. So,
do you guys use her on Credit Heist?
Do we use her on Credit Heist? I haven't geared her.
Absolutely, you could use her on Credit Heist, and I have in the past. She's fun there too.
Because I'm just farming her for that.
I have never used her for Credit Heist. No, my typical Credit Heist squad. But I can see why you would say that for Credit Heist. Because I'm thinking, whenever I look at a Scoundrel team, I'm looking at, Lando, IG-88, because those are characters that have the double citizenship. Yes. And then I'm looking at characters like Boba Fett, Stormtrooper Han, and then potentially regular Han Solo if you already have him. And then that puts you down to that 5th spot, which your choices seem kind of strange. Dengar, Clone Wars Chewbacca, Cad Bane, Mob Enforcer, Newt Gunray, Gamorrean Guard, Greedo, or Zam Wessel. So that 5th spot seems that potentially if you don't have Han Solo, that 5th spot is highly unusual, and I don't know what the right choice would be if you had to farm one guy for that spot or one character.
Well, the beautiful thing is they give you your placeholder for that. You only need 4 people. Okay, you only need 4 to do those events for credits and stuff like that. And that is Stormtrooper Han, IG-88, Boba Fett, and Lando. That's it. That's all you need. Everybody gets Chewbacca. Everybody makes the mistake of rolling Chewbacca up to like Gear 7, level 60 or something. And then by that time, they realize, oh, crap, he's not really that good, and stop. He's a placeholder, and he's a tank. All you need him to do is sit there. He doesn't even have to do anything. And the rest of the way. So that's who you could use as a placeholder until you unlock Han Solo from the raids.
Yes, I do, but he dies.
Cool. So we'll go on to the next question, so we can get these rolling out because they're starting to build up. So Mike sent a question about the Sith event coming, Zeta Maul. So what is your thoughts on this new event? The description of it, if you haven't seen it so far, is it's going to require First Order and Sith. And what it is, it says it's extremely hard. I think the kind of wording was it. It seems like it's going to be really hard. So are you guys prepping for that?
I think you have certain characters that we could pretty much say will probably be on the team, right? I mean, if we look at First Order, if you look at probably the best character, been the best character for quite some time on First Order, it's pretty hard to pass up on Phasma.
Yeah.
So probably Phasma is going to be on that team, right? And then if you look at a Sith team, you're probably looking at probably Palpatine and probably Vader on that team. So those are some of the characters you want to look at. I think that maybe those other spots are going to be interchangeable, or we're probably going to have to, kind of look and see the event first to see what's really which characters have good kits. With the rework they did to First Order, there's a lot of character. First Order Stormtrooper is really good and has been for a while, kind of like a silent character that most people don't talk about because a lot of people did not farm First Order Stormtrooper a whole lot. And so it's highly possible that could be one of the characters that's going to be on the team.
Definitely. It'll give me a chance to use my Kylo Ren, my Gear 11 Kylo Ren. So it'll give me a chance to use him. I'll probably use Darth Maul. I think I've got Darth Maul Zeta, so I'm probably using a lead. I'll probably then put Palpatine next to him, maybe Darth Vader. I think that's the only good Sith I've actually got currently. And then, Captain Phasma, and then Kylo Ren. So it'll just be a lot. I can imagine the synergy between the two of them because Kylo Ren is then anyone that's got an advantage as well from Phasma. He's going to give, 50% turn meter from every time he does his AoE because he gives 25% turn meter for First Order allies, then 25% turn meter for allies that have advantage. So that's 50% turn meter that we're going to get. And so if you've got a Zeta Maul that comes out, it's going to be deadly. It's going to be deadly. It will really be fun. But the rest of you, so Ranger, have you got any Sith together yet?
Just the standard Sith. I've got a lot of characters ready to go. It's just gearing them is the issue. I've got a ton of 7 stars. It's just getting them to gear 10 and 11. That's the issue. But gear 9 is usually never an issue. So yeah, I'm ready to go for the event. So not much more to add than what has already been said. So yeah, I'm good to go.
What about you, Warrior? Are you good to go?
I've got Zeta Darth Maul, Zeta Vader, and Emperor Palpatine. So I've got 3 Sith that are ready to go. My First Order TIE pilot is maxed out. I don't have him Zeta, but he's maxed out. So I'm pretty excited using him because he's got a cool rework, and he's always been pretty tanky and hits hard. And then, of course, I've been working on everybody, Kylo. Anytime they do a rework like this, you probably should note and go, this character might be an investment opportunity. And a lot of people had Kylo just kind of sitting around. So dust him off, work on him, and get him up. He's really hard to gear, or he was for me. And so I've only got him to gear 10, and I've been working on him for this last month. So, but I think he'll pay off in the long run.
Definitely.
I'm not sure my leader will be.
Yeah, I was probably thinking that I'll probably use, now that you said First Order TIE Pilot, I will be using him. I will be using him now.
I keep forgetting
I'll
I have
take
a
Vader
Max
out.
First Order TIE Pilot. Like,
yeah, I forgot I had him. I think he's just got just minimum 5 dot mods on him just so he gets the buffs for the starships. That's it. He just sits there.
Yeah.
What about you, Bella?
Yeah, I've got Palp and Vader and Maul. Just finishing Maul, so First Order TIE Pilot from the First Order side, and I'm thinking about Kylo.
Yeah, Kylo. You definitely want Kylo. He's one of them characters that's really good, but he's really fun to use. You can just keep using his AoE attack over and over and over, and it's really good. It's fun. It's like Anakin having the AoE constantly, just boom, 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 just dishing it out. It's fun. So what we'll do, we're going to move on to the next question. Let's have a look. So this is a question what we've got here from Lucas. Do you think that a Wigs team with 2 tanks is better than a Wigs team with Boba and 1 tank? The leader is Lando. So we'll break that up. What he's pretty much got, he's currently asking the question that 2 tanks, I'll take that as 2 Taunters. So he's got 2 Taunters, possibly could be like Sunfac, Han ST. He's got a Lando lead, and he's asking, is it better to have the 2 tanks or take out one of these tanks and put Boba in and use the 1 tank? So what is your thoughts on this? And we'll start with Warrior.
My old original OP team that I used for like 4.5 months that would work if you're in the top 200s, even still, would be, of course, Lando lead, Wedge, Biggs, Stormtrooper Han, and Sunfac. So that would be super viable, and I don't really think you need to pull anyone off for Boba Fett. I don't think Boba Fett's a need in Arena. But if you have Boba Fett and you have him really high and you're wanting to play with him, or you're starting to run into some of these super buff teams like the Chase combos, then you probably do want to pull Sunfac off and put on Boba, or pull Stormtrooper Han off if your team is fast enough by itself and put on Boba. But 2 tanks is the problem. Is you run into B2 more often than you're going to run into Chase. And B2 is super annoying, and so you're going to get B2 is going to go around any of your tanks unless you happen to have maybe Royal Guard, and then if you happen to have like Han ST, Saint Han and Royal Guard, then you might get your trigger from Royal Guard if you're lucky, and it might save your butt. But it's just hard. I would do the 2 tanks and skip Boba Fett unless you're running into a ton of Chase teams, and that's probably not happening.
Definitely. I used to run the same sort of team with Sunfac and Han ST, and it worked for a good while, and I'd probably imagine he's got Lando there to make his Han ST, if he is running Han ST, Lando lead to give that extra speed. But it depends who you're really facing. If you're facing teams where you're kind of building up that have crit immunity, then Lando isn't your best kind of choice. He kind of loses his flavour, and that's where Boba comes in and becomes the newer flavour to that. Because you're going to be going for that ability block. But if they've got crit immunity, like if they're running General Kenobi, Lando's pretty much going to be quite useless. You might as well run Admiral Akbar if you're on the offense, because that's pretty much going to give you a cleanser against some of these teams. So, Ranger, do you want to go up and give your kind of like feedback into that?
Yeah, I think Bubba is an amazing character. I use him on my PvP team because the other thing he does, he can shoot around taunt, and I could tell you, having and he can dispel. He's an incredible character. The two tank system only works really. It's not as viable as it used to be. I'm running Shore Trooper as my tank now, and he makes the world of difference with just one tank because just like with Chase, he's already got us taunt up, so it's going to protect your bigs and wedge a lot better than Royal Guard or Stormtrooper Han. Because even if you put a ton of speed mods on Stormtrooper Han, he still can't. He's still not going to be fast enough than some of the when you get to the higher level of PvP, and one of your bigs or wedge usually gets targeted, and that just kills your DPS. So for me, I don't run Lando anymore. Because of all the counters that are out there. I'd rather have one solid tank like a short trooper, something like that, with Biggs and Wedge. Like I'm running Boba Fett, Anakin, Biggs and Wedge, and then Short Trooper, and I'm going to be changing that team even. But it makes a big difference because they go after Short Trooper, they damage him. Even if they get him low, then Anakin gets his stuff off plus Blubba's AOE and everything. So yeah, I don't like the two tank thing.
Okay, yeah, definitely. It's the only time I'd probably consider a two tank thing is if I was running base, because base can then he's got two abilities that's able to dispel. So if you have base, then it's definitely worth it. So what's your thoughts on this, Bella?
Yeah, I'm actually just thinking about the same. I'm about to put a second tank on my arena team. I currently run Vix, Pulp, ST Han, and QGJ, but I want to get rid of QGJ. And so I was thinking Fun Facts, B2 base, or Short Trooper. So when I thought about that, I mean, I need a dispel. So I think I'm going for base, to put base on there. And what I wanted to say, it's not there's nothing, you don't have like a general like arena team. It depends much where you play and what you have in your chart. If you have a lot of chase, probably B2 is an option.
Definitely, you're gonna need it, or they're just gonna wipe you out. Just gonna get all that kind of like healing. But Grande, you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on it?
So, if we distill arena down a little bit, arena is basically a really complicated version of paper, rock, scissors, and so you need to look and see on who you go up against as you're trying to make your ranks and trying to make high rank at your payout. And you need to figure out what is the counter to whatever your whatever players are normally your stepping stones to get up on high rank. So if you're playing up against a bunch of Chaz, you're probably going to need a B2. If you're going up against a bunch of Chaz, you're probably going to need a Boba Fett. But if you're not playing up against that, if you're playing up against a Vader, for example, or you're playing up against something like that, then you may want to look at something like a Rex instead. And so there are certain key characters that you that you want to have in your arsenal, and you want to have some pretty decent mods on them so that you can be flexible to have the biggest advantage on your team. It's easy, and I can remember doing it. I can remember being stuck on, this is my team. I played this team, and I played this team versus your team, and may the best man win. In the long run, that may not be the best choice. You have to really think about what's the best way. For example, when I first got General Kenobi, my thought was, okay, I have General Kenobi. Nobody else has General Kenobi. I run a maxed out General Kenobi all the time because I'm a badass. Well, honestly, there were times whenever I should have taken General Kenobi out, but it was hard for me to do that because I wanted to run him, and put somebody else in who got more turn meter, like a B2 or like Jedi Knight Anakin. So or I needed to protect somebody, like I needed to protect my wedge bigs, so I needed to run that double taunt team. So you really need to be having some relatively decent mods on probably 5 to 8 characters, so that you can swap them in and out as needed.
Definitely, because that's how the game's going now, where it isn't. I think a lot of confusion comes to us older players that there was only one meta, and that is what we've always been used to, is the one meta, where now there's several, and you're going to have to change your teams out to beat different teams, because one team won't beat everything, and that's the problem when it comes to defense. If you've got lots of Vaders around you, and then sometimes it isn't the best thing to jump on that bandwagon of Vaders, because it's then going to come down to who's got the fastest TIE fighter pilot. So it's sometimes best to then, to beat them, put a Rex lead in. Rex is going to help you, you're going to automatically gain that turn meter, you're going to go for that kind of cleanse, and it's going to really mess up that Vader team when you're going against it on the attack. So we're going to go on to our next question. This question that I think we should be able to kind of answer is, so we've got a question here, and it says, can you explain how exactly the raid tickets work? Are they separate? When you produce 600 tickets a day, you produce 600 rank car tickets and 600 tank tickets takedown, or does it get split? Even though you score 600, so how it works, and my understanding of this is, you're doing 600 a day, but you accumulate in 600 on both. So if you do 500, you're only going to get 500. So there's no kind of like big totals. It's what you do is your 600, but you're gaining both of that 600, both for the Rancor and the AAT. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
600 for both.
Yeah, so if you do 500,
Yeah.
you're going to get 500 in both. You're not going to have...
Yes,
it's literally one 600, and that gives you both. So it's kind of like you're trading in your 600, and you're getting the 600 back in the kind of like raid tickets for both of them. So if you do 500, you're only going to get 500 in each. So that's pretty much how...
And I think we need to realize too, that's energy even on days when it's a non-energy guild activity. So just because you do 36 GW does not mean you get 600. You have to spend 600 energy, light side, dark side, and cantina, even on the day when it's GW day, for example, or PvP day. So I know that's been a little bit confusing for people. They're like, well, I did 336 GW nodes. I'm good for my 600. No. It's energy spent even on a different activity day.
Definitely. So we're going to move on to the next question. This is from Matt. So yeah, he was just clearing up that he runs a Sunfac. He's got 5s, Boba, Lando. So if you are running 5s, I would probably say working towards getting out of 5s, unless you've got a Pacific team that's going to really benefit him. It's not the same as what it used to be when you kind of run 5s. What would you guys say about that? Because what he's got in his team, he runs Sunfac, 5s, Boba, Lando. So the stars that they currently are 7-star Sunfac. I believe he's a 7 stars 5s, a 6-star Boba, 5-star Lando. Or maybe I missed something on one of the stars. But he's also got Emperor Palpatine. So it's quite a big question on there.
So I mean, you can run it. There's a guy on my arena server that runs a kind of a counter team. If you want to run 5s, then you have to run it either with that clone synergy, or you're running it with some kind of a counter synergy. And what I mean by that is he typically runs like Jedi. He runs a General Kenobi lead with a Zated Barriss and like a B2 and an Ayla and a 5s. And so what he's doing is he's got this huge counter meta going for him. It's like counter and heal, and that works for him. Or if you really want to stay with 5s, then you have to go for that kind of clone team. The only other thing is that potentially that team he'd have to go up against, for example, like droid teams, where he's basically utilizing 5s slow against that droid team to kind of get rid of all that turn meter gain. But it sounds like he just needs to get a little bit more diverse in his characters.
Yeah.
And it sounds like potentially that he needs to work on being able to take some of that stuff out and put it in as needed. He also needs to probably relook at his mods. You'd be amazed. You can make characters that shouldn't necessarily work because you have some amazing mods. There's another guy that runs some 3-star characters in his arena team, and he's top 5 all the time, and you're like, how's this guy top 5 with 3-star characters? Well, he's top 5 with 3-star characters because of his amazing mods, and because he's max geared on those characters. So Probably need to figure out in which direction that you want to go.
Definitely.
But Granda, that's what some people do. It's a trap.
It's
a trap. It's a trap. It's a
like
trap.
the old the old kind of like Ben gear like 5 Ben in the team. So when you do an AOE, they all get the buff. Right, we'll move on to this question because we need to start kind of getting through these as best as we can. So this one I'm going to share with you, and I'll start this one with Warrior because you didn't get to answer on the last one. So any guesses on the two other characters that can be released along with Darth Nihilus?
Unfortunately, I know what the 2 characters are, so I can't comment.
Okay,
You can always lie.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair enough. Ranger, you're into your Qatar.
We talked about this before. We think it's going to be the trio. You and me have spoken about this before. I can't remember their names right off the top of my head because I haven't had enough coffee.
So the 3
but
that you've got Treya. So that was the master of Nihilus before he then kind of like overthrown her. You've got Darth Sion, and you've also got Vesemar as well. So she was his apprentice at one point. So it could be any of them, or it could just be generic characters like Sith Trooper or something, or just someone that's already in the game. But what is your thoughts on that? Do you think they would give us a trio like that, or do you think...
it would be nice. It would be kind of a nice little surprise, like, hey, you didn't know about these two, because I think we could use some more Sith in the game that could do some different stuff. It would be really cool. But I mean, if they don't and they just give us some characters, maybe shards, like maybe Darth Maul or something, that would be cool too. So I don't know. I'm kind of keeping my hopes up that they do introduce all 3 of them in the game. That would be really badass. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, you can speculate all you want, and they may just do something totally different than what we think at all. So I have no idea.
Yeah,
really. But I'm hoping for the trio.
Yeah, it could be anybody. What about you, Grande? It's not going to be Night Sisters, hopefully.
Unfortunately, I already know as well, and I can't comment.
Why am I the last one to know in this chat? What is going on? What is going on, EA?
Welcome to my world.
I don't know either, and for me it's like Christmas. I don't want a spoiler.
Okay. Did you know Anakin Skywalker's really Darth Vader? Anyway.
He is?
No! Right, so we're going to go through. I should have already been looking through questions, but I got so engrossed in Knights of the Old Republic chat. It's kind of my kryptonite. Please don't talk about Knights of... I'm kind of like Grande when it comes to Night Sisters. If you talk about Jedi Luke, Knights of the Old Republic, I'll probably talk for hours about their lore and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So let's move along from that. Let's have a look. So we know generally about the thoughts. Like Warrior's got some huge opinion on the First Order because I watched his video before. So I'm going to direct this straight to Warrior first. So what are your thoughts on First Order since the reworks? Lots of Omegas and Zetas, but is it worth it?
Well, it's like anything in the game. If you're all in, you're all in. I mean, if you went all in on all the resistance, then it's going to be worth it. You can't do anything half-hearted in this game. So what they're doing is they're making every single faction viable. Okay, so you can now do a resistance team and it'll be viable. You can now do First Order and it will be viable. But do you want to play with Kylo Ren and Captain Phasma? If the answer is not really, then no, I wouldn't go that route because you don't have to. What they're doing is creating balance in the game so you can have choices instead of having to always do the meta. And they have to make each team kind of niche where they have these special abilities that nobody else has. So yeah, absolutely. First Order, if you had all 5 First Order, totally maxed out, Zetaed out, all of that, and you put them into an arena, you're going to hold really, really high and you're going to do very, very well. But you got to be all in. You can't just take them to Gear 9 and be like, well, that's good enough, like we do with the mod battles. We did that with mod battles, right? You take them up just high enough so you can pass it, and then you forget about them. And that's what I did with most of the factions. And that's what they don't want. They want to make every faction viable. And they did with this new rework. They did. I have seen video of all 5 First Order, fully maxed, fully geared, all that, in beta, testing, where they're just destroying the other side. Now it's all like I think it was Grande Patron said this earlier. It's paper rock scissors. This team beats this team, but this team can beat that team. Everything has kind of an Achilles heel, and every team has a weakness to another team. So I like it because there's balance now. And yes, if you want First Order, if you like Kylo Ren, and you like Captain Phasma, do First Order. But if not, then don't.
Yeah, that's spot on, man. Spot on. What about anyone else want to give any feedback before we move on to some packs? So we got a question about the packs. Anyone else want to give any feedback or any input on the First Order before we move along?
No, I think we're covered it pretty darn well.
Fair enough. So
sometimes you just nothing to add.
This is a question that is an awesome question. I like this question. Okay, so we all know the Citadel pack was a flop. Whoa. Okay, for 800 to 1,000 for 2 characters. But do you think people would be more willing to pay 400 to 500 for Jedi Luke? Ooh. We'll start with who wants to go first on this one. This is a very this is a very big topic.
I mean, let's talk about Jedi Luke for a minute. So, are you buying him because he's a good character and you're going to be successful with him, or are you buying him for the nostalgia of the character? So we don't know what his kit would be like yet. And if the kit's broken, I would recommend against buying any character that the kit is broken, even if it's an amazingly nostalgic character.
Mm-hmm. Unless it's Revan.
Even if it's Revan. If the character has problems with the character, then I would probably recommend waiting, regardless of who they are.
Yeah, that's very, very, very true. What about you, Warrior?
Well, I know everybody knows I'm a whale and I spend money on the game, but I gotta be honest. I don't think I'll ever sit down and say, yeah, I think that character's worth $500 to me. I just don't think it. I mean, I could literally take my wife on a 1-week vacation to Cabo San Lucas in Mexico for that money. I mean, literally all inclusive. So I just, I mean, when they hit the $100 mark, I'm like, okay, 1 month budget on one character, maybe, but I still have my limits. I guess I'm not an Uber whale, unfortunately. I just don't see $500 as a value for any digital character in any game, anywhere. But that's me. That's my personality.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I guess as well with when you know how much it starts to take, where with these kind of like freemium games, and this is just games in general, I guess the aim is that you buy one pack, so you buy another, then you keep going and going and going.
Yeah.
When it's kind of spelled out to you, kind of like the price, and when you see what's this, it kind of makes you think seconds, because you think, whoa, that's going to cost me that, but if it was 200, 300, then yeah, I could probably stretch to that, knowing that it may cost me 150, and some it could cost 250. So some people would just take the risk on that alone because they kind of know the benchmark, but when the benchmark is so fluctuated that it could cost 600, it could actually cost 800, then it could actually cost this other person 1,200, it then causes the issue because it all comes down to those 30 shards of how many times you're getting them 30 shards. And I guess that's going to be the issue. Once you kind of see the price like that spelled out, it's going to put, I guess it could put a lot of people off purchasing and anything. If you walk into a shop and they're like, this raffle token's this, but you're going to need to have 600 raffle tickets, and it's probably going to cost you around about that. You're probably going to be like, I'm not going to buy that first raffle ticket because I know the whole huge outcome of what's going to happen. Where if they says, oh, it only takes 20 raffle tickets, and you're like, yeah, okay, that's only 20. So I guess that's with the freemium titles in general, or games. I used to play Ultimate Team, which is kind of similar with the packs on this, but I used to get worse odds when it comes to packs. It was horrible. You could spend so much and you just get nothing from it whatsoever. At least, I guess, with these kind of titles that you get in what you know and you get in, I would get footballers that I've never even heard of, and they were never used to me, and just money down the drain.
So everybody knows they make all their money on gearing. though. So if you stab them in the heart trying to get the character to begin with, then we already know the next step is we have to gear them, which costs 6 times what it costs to actually get the character. So if you're investing 600 in a character, you're going to probably spend $3,000 or spend 6 months gearing that character. It's either going to cost you money for the gear or it's going to cost you time for the gear. And so the character, you want people to have it. If I had 1 million people that have Jedi Knight Luke, I have 1 million people spending money gearing this character up or grinding for that gear, however they see fit. But if I don't get this in the hands of most people because I outprice it, then I don't have anybody spending any money on any gear because they don't have the character to gear. They don't care. So it's a really bad business model in my opinion. I'm trying to give constructive feedback. I really hope they hear and listen because, everybody has that character. Your amount of money made on gear goes up significantly, and like I said, they make 6 times on gearing what they do on people purchasing packs to unlock characters. That's just where their money lies. So, I hope they take a look at all this hard, and really reanalyze it. And the truth is, if you look at Swagaga, swgoh.gg, you can see who's bought this pack and who hasn't because you can see who has a 7-star. And I think the stats are coming back at like 0.15%. It's like, not even a single percent of the people out there. It's like, 0.1% are buying these packs. And that to me would be success if it was my business. And I run a business for a living. So I don't know. I just hope that they take a reassessment and look at it. Now, it sounds like they're going to create this conveyor belt of sorts where everything's going free to play in 3 months. And there'll be a reasonable pack, what I would say reasonable, what we're used to, 6 weeks in or so. And then they're going to have this like eye gouging initial pack that everybody's going to have to bypass. But I'm guessing if we go and nobody buys that initial eye gouging pack, then eventually they'll discard that or they'll remodify it with a better price point. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see what happens. We've got a question here, and this is a question for Academy members. Rebel Tanks. Who to farm now? He's an Android player, so he has a 6-star K2SO. Could be a slow farm. He's got a 4-star... I don't know who that is. SRP. That's Pathfinder, isn't it? Rebel Pathfinder.
Yeah,
is that right? Yeah, and then he's got a 3-star base. And he would be willing, though, to spend to 4-star him, or he's got a Stormtrooper Han at 0-star. So I would say off the bat straight away, Baze is pretty much the kind of guy that you need in the arena. What do you guys say on that?
Yeah, can't go wrong with Baze.
I mean, right now that's the little 2-guy tag team synergies seem to be a way that they're moving in the game. You've seen it with Wedge Biggs. You've seen it with Chirrut and Baze. I can't see why you wouldn't want to go with Baze as a good character on your team. You got a pre-taunt. You got retribution. You got a dispel. Can't go wrong there. Yeah. The problem is right now is you got to buy him. So it's either a slow farm through shipments or you're pulling chromium. Hopefully in another couple of months, if they continue to follow their kind of, for lack of it, their tiered system on making characters more affordable, that we'll find him in another location.
Cool. What about you, Warrior?
I don't know. The one that you guys all said was Baze, and I agree. But surprisingly, one that nobody's really using right now is K2SO. And with that Daze ability, I'm telling you, it's underrated. People don't realize how amazing Daze is. And he's got 100% counter chance when you get him maxed out. 100% counter chance. Like, that's better than any counter tank out there, unless you have retribution on, like Baze has initially, but it goes away. So K2SO is kind of the hidden leader. The problem is with Baze, K2SO, or any of the new characters that are coming out or being reworked, the gear is going to kill you. The gearing is absolutely going to kill you on all of these characters. They're atrocious. They really are.
Definitely. What about you, Ranger? Have you started on your Baze yet?
No, I've been focusing more on Short Trooper and more the dark side because that's where kind of where the meta's going. I mean, I'd love to focus on Bays, but I had to make a choice: Short Trooper or Bays, right? And so for me, it just made more sense to go with Short Trooper. I mean, eventually I'll farm Bays, but right now, I mean, I have K2SO, but as Warrior was saying, oh my God, the gear is insane. but some characters you're like, I could, you know work it a little bit and get the gear. And there's some you just look at and you go, well, I'll have that done by next Christmas. Unless I buy a ton of gear. So yeah. I gotta finish up Short Trooper. You don't want to try to get so focused on all these characters where you try to farm them. I try to focus on three to four at a time, and just work on them with their gear and everything. Like I'm working on gear in B2 because I really want B2 in my arena team. So I'm working on his gear. I've finally got him to 7-star. I'm working on Short Trooper. I'm working on starring him in his gear. TIE fighter pilot. Certain characters like that I'm going to be using. That's how I kind of focus on. So, yeah, it's kind of how you kind of have to play the game.
Definitely. What about you, Bella? Who are you currently doing?
Yeah.
Are you going after the base train?
Yeah, as I said before, I'm going for base because I still run basically a rebel team with pulp on it, and I think it's quite good for the synergies. But I'm farming Short Trooper also and trying to put some gear on him because he has got a cool ship.
Yeah, definitely. I still need to get on that beige train. I haven't even got one shard yet.
Oh no.
Yeah, I should have got it from the shard shop, but at that point I thought gear was more important than a character. Wow, I was wrong. I was really wrong. But I still make do. I've kind of gone an orthodox way with my team. I've always made my team. I've got no auto taunters, and I've never had an auto taunter. My Short Trooper is not even geared or anything like that. I am farming some shards to him, but I think I'm too late on that train. To be honest, there'll probably be other stuff that's going to be out by the time. There's probably going to be another auto taunter which I'll be able to jump on as quick as possible because he'll probably be the new meta. Who knows? But I've got a question here from Matteo. In my shard, there is a Maul Zeta lead. That doesn't drop from the first 5 spots. What do you think? So I currently actually run a Maul Zeta, and it's really, really good because I kind of what that does is when you get the opening speed, you get your speed, and for example, my Palpatine is at 220. So because of that extra turn meter that you get from the Maul Zeta, that 20%, you times that by 1.25, then it gives you an outgoing speed. So it's around about 280 or something like that. Something around about that mark as an opening speed. So it means my Palpatine is going to go off and do an AoE stun instantly. Then I've got my Maul as an opening speed at 250, including that turn meter, and then he's going to come in, do the daze. So if they're stunned, dazed, and then Boba comes in, and then he does his AoE block, right? So straight away this team's like, what's kind of going on when they attack it? So that's how it's really deadly. Is normally like that right there. Have you guys ever faced a kind of like Darth Maul with your arena team without changing it? Because there are counters to it. There's a counters to everything. But have you had the privilege of fighting a Darth Maul Zeta?
Yes, I have, and it's not fun. I mean, I did beat it, but the first time I faced it, I was like, "Oh, Darth Maul, this will be an easy match." Wrong. I didn't. His abilities when he's Zeta are just he's insane, and he just once he gets going, oh my God, he can wreck you quick.
Definitely. What about you, Warrior? You got anyone on your shard with a Maul Zeta?
The only person with a Zeta Maul is me, and every time I put that team in and I try to make like a really awesome team with Maul, I drop like a rock into like the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th position. So I pull him and put one of my teams in. I don't get it. I don't know what's happening because I can't see replays. I wish we could see replays so I could see how they're picking this team apart and see what's the weakness of it. But I do know I have a couple of people running on my top 5 with Rex lead. The other people, pretty much everybody else in top 10, is running Darth Vader lead or Emperor Palpatine lead. So it's all dark side now. Everybody's got team comp for like 7 out of 10 people. They've got Vader, Emperor Palpatine, TIE Fighter pilot, Shore Trooper, Boba Fett. Or instead of Shore Trooper, they got B2. And that's it. That's everybody on my top 10 pretty much, except for like 2 or 3 of us. And so that's who I have to go against. Boba Fett's really, or Maul's not really a issue.
Yeah, definitely. I enjoy it. I do want to change it, but once I guess we get our hands on Nihilus, depending how powerful he is at a low star, it could be a game changer for Darth Maul. You know, it could be an anti. I would probably imagine he could be an anti kind of like Darth Vader. I don't know if they do follow lore that he should be eating those dots up and making himself really powerful. But who knows what he does? Well, I guess we'll find out next weekend. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. So there's a question here: will a Savage rework come before the event? I don't know. I don't know. If he gets reworked,
they've been doing these little double 2-team synergies, right? They've been doing, Wedge Biggs and Chaz. You would think that 2 characters that are brothers would have synergy with each other. How cool would that be? Will it happen? I have no idea. I got to tell you, I've been waiting for it for a long time, and it would make me so happy to have Maul and Savage Opress have a synergy.
Yeah.
But they don't. I mean, there's other 2-team, 2-character teams that feel like they should have a synergy, like Anakin and General Kenobi feel like they should have a synergy, or Kenobi and Qui-Gon feel like they should have a synergy, or Yoda and Dooku even feel like they should have a more of a synergy, but they don't. I think they have to be careful with the reworks and with the 2-team synergies.
Yeah.
But I would certainly love to see what they come up with if they did it.
Yeah, see, what I've always looked at, and this is the kind of like problem, I would love to have the synergy between the 2, but this is the equivalent of Darth Maul to Savage is the same equivalent of a Clone Wars Chewbacca to the Han Solo, and why they have no synergy, because the Darth Maul we've got in game is Phantom Menace Maul. It's not Clone Wars Maul. And I guess that's the big problem, that we may never see it, unless we see a kind of like Darth Maul from the Clone Wars with his robotic legs. But him and Savage never actually knew each other before they met in the Clone Wars. Like, even though they were brothers, I can't remember. It's been a long time since I've watched it, but I'm sure that he introduces himself and he's like, "I am your brother," kind of thing.
Yeah.
So they didn't really know each other because Maul was taken as a child. But I don't know. But yeah, they would have only grown up briefly, wouldn't they, or something? I'd have to rewatch them. It's kind of on my to-do list of 2017. I still need to finish all the Dragon Ball Z yet, so it could be a while.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. So I'm going through the questions. Here's a question. I like this one. It just says question, so I can actually see it with it beneath all this chat. I recently got Hannes T to 7 stars. Gear V11, is that 7?
Yeah, Gear 7, I guess.
But he isn't really impressive on health. My Sunfuck is the same gear, and almost has 10k health more than him. Do you think it's do you think Han is still worth using? Who wants to take this? Do you want to take this, Warrior or Grande? Who wants to jump in?
I'll tell you, if you don't mind, Warrior. We had, I can remember having the same question with Ranger, because Ranger at one point had like Gear 11 Saint Han, and I think I had like Gear 7 or Gear 8 Saint Han, and I was like, God, am I really doing the right thing throwing all this gear on Stormtrooper Han? And Ranger was like, I promise you, get him to Gear 10, get him to Gear 11, and you will be happy. I get it. He doesn't have a whole lot going on at Gear 7, but he will be a piece that he will be a character that you will use a bunch. And I kept going, this seems like a waste. How in the heck is Ranger right? And I kept doing it and kept doing it and kept doing it. And I finally got him up to Gear 11. And I will tell you that I believe that it is worth it to have that character. If for nothing else, to have the ability to have a character to throw in, to give turn meter to your whole team if you need it. So yes, I think Stormtrooper Han is useful. Is he as useful as he was 4 to 5 months ago? Probably not. Is he still useful? Absolutely. I think that's That's the bottom line as far as I see it.
Mm-hmm. And he's dual purpose. I mean, you can use it for the Emperor event. You can use him for the smuggling event, or the bounty hunter event, because he is classified as not bounty smuggler event. But he's got different categories, and he's a great tank. And as Grande said, so yes, I do remember that conversation. Grande thought I was insane. I'm like, no, trust me, do it now.
Thank you, Arnold.
What do you think, Rain? What do you think, Warrior?
I almost thought Arnold T101 was on our stream just a second ago. Do it now!
Kylo Ren. All right. So, what did you think about that? I think all you heard there was the Arnold impersonation.
Yeah, I like Arnold, but he's not on the stream, I don't think, so.
Tell us what you really think. I'm only joking. Right. Right. Let's have a look. So there was just a question about the footage in the background. It's from Eddie Bear. So the footage in the background is more taking on the kind of tanking. Yes, he is capable of doing the entire raid. And if you want to sit there for probably a day or two doing it, then on auto, bear in mind, then yeah, it is possible to probably kind of do the whole raid, but it is on normal. So it's just answering that question that come up on there. We're getting a lot of feedback saying Darth Vader's on the stream. So there is someone definitely kind of like either breathing heavily or
I don't know.
It's Ranger.
It can't be. My mic's muted every time.
No, it's not. Look at me. Look, my muted to you, but it's not muted.
Yeah, I keep mine muted when I'm not talking, so it's not Warrior, even though Warrior is sick.
Are you still sick?
I don't know.
Yeah, I got a incessant cough that won't go away. It sucks.
I was sick for about 2 weeks before. It was horrible.
Yeah, it was. You were near death.
I did. I still carried on with the streams, videos. I was just all like, welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, kind of thing. But right, let's have a look. So I've got a question here from Patrick. I run an Emperor Palpatine lead, Dooku 5s, Luminara, and Ayla. When any AoE hits my team, I just can't insta-delete that attacker. Does that mean instant kill, possibly? It can just instantly the attacker. Okay, so maybe that isn't a question, and that's probably someone just giving their opinion of what they've got. So that's my mistake. So I'm just going through the questions right now. I think we need to put the kind of questions that people need to in future, probably head it as a question, because there's a lot of chat. So there's a lot of questions from the same guy asking about game fuel. So is this a Master Assassin's thing?
Yeah. What's the question about gamer fuel?
What is gamer fuel? How was the game fuel?
I don't really want to say what it is, other than you should just watch it. It's on our channel.
Go and watch it.
You just watch it. I think it's on Urban's channel as well. Just go watch Gamer Fuel. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say.
Urban Blaster.
I'm not going to tell you. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you what it's about or anything. But just say it's food for gaming, and we'll leave it at that. And if you don't die of laughter and other things, then I don't know what to tell you.
Right, so
he's insane.
We got Ewok in that's got this question. So we're actually at the bottom of the pile now, I believe. So I can't see there's any more questions. But he says, question, can you continue the stream for another hour while I'm driving?
What's some entertainment while he's driving, huh?
Lord, no.
I did see one question in here about replacing Nebbit with K2SO on a droid team, and your thoughts about replacing Nebbit with a K2SO. Or is that from Luke? It's from Luke Thyrocker. That's a freaking awesome name. Every time I read it, I'm like, Luke Thyrocker. Should K2SO replace Nebbit on my P2 droid, on my P2, I'm guessing heroic AAT droid team?
I say no. Chief Nebbit, when he's geared and everything, he's a beast with the droid team on phase 2. And K2SO with his abilities, yeah, he taunts and stuff, but that's really not what you want on there. And Nebbit can taunt and do his triple attack with the droids and everything, especially if you put him as leader, with everything he does. So just a better piece overall than K2SO.
Nebbit in the AAT reduces the cooldowns as well by 1 when he taunts.
Yeah.
Well, and he has a special ability, right? Where when he does an attack, he basically gets a call and assist because of the abilities of the AAT.
Yeah, every time he uses an ability, because he's a Jawa, isn't he? He gets an assist.
Yeah, so it seems like I would probably keep Chief Nebbit on the team.
Yeah, let's have a look. So I've got a question right here. So we're just going to probably pick up on the last few questions before we finish the stream today, because it's been nearly 90 minutes today. Right, so I've got here that we'll go with this question and then we'll go on to the next question. Oh, okay, so we've got 4 questions. We've also got Turbs, so sorry about that, Turbs. You had a question. If you can retype that, buddy, while I read the rest of them, because there's a lot of kind of like chat for me to actually see through. So let's have a look. So I'm having a hard time picking up what to focus on. My Jedi team is starting to plummet, but to go Empire means that I'm going to have to gear a Rebel team to get Emperor Palpatine. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you need Emperor Palpatine. With this game, if you're wanting to progress and change for the metas, that you need to be having a diverse kind of like collection. So you want to have Jedis for events, you want to have Rebels, you'd pretty much want to have all the factions, so you can then split your teams up, change it for whenever anything like this happens, when they bring out all this dark side month, that it's all dark side characters. You want to have teams to the ones that you can pick up, to be able to put them in that, because you're not going to be able to really be running Empire and all this in a Jedi team. It's just not going to work as well as somebody that's got a full Empire team. So what would you guys say? Warrior, are you still there?
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Yep.
I would say that they're creating that balance, and so you're going to have to, if Empire is where you want to go, you're going to want Emperor Palpatine, which means you need to get Rebels. Now, you don't have to get all the Rebels. There's 18 of them or whatever. Just pick the top 5. Pick Lando because he's duality. Pick Wedge and Biggs. Pick Stormtrooper Han. And maybe throw someone in like Akbar, so you have a fleet commander or whatever, and then and stick with that. That's it. Don't worry about all the other Rebels. Screw the Rebels if you don't want them. Just do those 5. Get your 7-star Emperor Palpatine, and then do Empire. But you're going to have to do at least 5 of that faction, and they're great for Galactic War and for
phase
Cantina,
4, phase 4 the ring of the heroic raid. I mean, I mean. You can't go wrong. I mean, Rebels, you may not want to play them, like with Arena and everything, but you're going to need them, and like Lando and Stormtrooper Han, you can use in other places too, because they have, as we said previously, dual purposes. So yeah, some teams you don't want to farm. Like I didn't want to farm Jawas when I was doing it for mods, but I'm like, well, I want the mods, so I'm gonna have to farm Jawas. And I got lucky that when they announced the heroic AT raid, they're like, Jawas will be viable. I'm like, well, that was a bonus. So every team does have a purpose, but doesn't mean you have to play it all the time.
It's the circle of life. If you don't get Emperor Palpatine, right? If you don't get Emperor Palpatine, what happens if they bring out an event where you need all Sith? You're going to be behind because you haven't got the Rebels to get Emperor Palpatine, to then get the Empire, to get the Sith, then to unlock this brand new character. You're going to be, months behind, because this Emperor Palpatine event is once every other month, isn't it? So imagine if that was brought out. It's going to put you in a serious kind of way behind. We're talking months, and these events are going to happen. I don't know what the speculations or what they would be on it, but if it follows suit with the game, so far we've got Jedi, we've got Rebels, then Sith is one day, especially if you've got Nihilus running around, is going to be more obtainable. Yeah, Emperor Palpatine is definitely going to assist you in that and having that character.
And Palpatine is such a badass character. I mean, he's still viable. When we looked at the meta report, he's still one of those characters that you want to use, because he can do so much. His shock is amazing. So get Palpatine, and even for anything, the more characters you have in the game, the more flexibility you have to do certain events. And we were just talking about the new event. Some of us here don't have certain characters because we didn't focus on them, which is understandable. But if you had them, it just opens up more doors, more opportunities in the game for you. So yeah, just get them.
Yeah.
So
Get Yoda too. Quit farting around.
Yeah. So the next one that we've got, so this one is an arena team question. So, hey Smithie, I'm wondering if you could give me some advice for my arena team. I currently am running Boba, Lando, Kylo, Shaw, and Palp. They're all gear 10, all around 180 speed, but I can't get them any higher. Right, so with that, on advice, the issue that it could be presenting there is that you're running all of them except for Shaw and Palp are all different factions. So the issue you've got straight there, you haven't really gotten a Dispeller. You've got one tank that's going to auto taunt. And then the speed factor then comes into it. If it's 180 speed, you've got no kind of TM gain in your team to kind of like compete with faster teams.
No, well, not with the speed he's got, but he said he had Boba Fett, so he's got one Dispeller.
If you
right?
use
Do you say
Boba Fett that way, yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, yeah, that's kind of a mishmash team. I would get rid of Kylo. What was it? Boba Fett.
Boba Fett. I take it that Boba Fett is the leader. Then we've got Lando, Kylo, Shaw, and Palpatine.
Yeah, I would definitely take Kylo out of there unless you're going to use him. Kylo is great for certain team cons, especially with the new First Order rework. I have a lot of those tunes almost done. I'm working on Kylo. I'm kind of interested in see. And of course, you got the Zeta the hell out of him, but that's a different story altogether. Yeah. But I would replace Kylo. Biggs and Wedge on that team would be pretty dang good. Jedi Anakin on that team instead of Kylo would be really amazing because with Shore Trooper getting hit so much, you may think about B2 adding that to their team to add that AoE because Shore Trooper's going to get hit. B2 is going to go right after that. But definitely Kylo, I would replace Kylo on that team. Maybe even Lando, because Lando, especially with all the crit stuff that they've got out now, is just, as Grande and Warrior said earlier, it's just not as viable against certain teams because his AoE is not going to be as effective. So, yeah, I would definitely look at some of those other characters, or maybe go all Empire team. TIE Pilot is a great character, very fast. With Short Trooper, Palpatine, you probably put,
B2's a must because if they dodge his AoE, he's going to get 100% turn meter.
Right. So I mean, I'm adding B2 to my lineup. He's a beast, and a lot of people use him not even for droids; they just use him period in their team. As Word's talking about. So those are a lot better options than the team you have right now.
Yeah, Boba Fett is good, but
yeah, keep Bubba. Bubba's great.
But the problem is that you need to have that speed because
the
Boba
speed
ability
mods
blocked. That's the issue. It's the team that it's focusing on. If we have a look at all the characters there and just take them apart, all of them are focusing on special abilities. Every single one of them needs to use a special ability. One AoE ability blocked by a faster Boba completely then ruins the team straight off because, you've got Emperor Palpatine that can do a good shock on his basic. Kylo does not hit very hard on his basic on the first attack. Lando is pretty much useless on his basic because he's in there for his AoE, and Boba is going to double tap, but he's not going to be able to. So that's where the issue comes in. There's no cleanser, and that's the issue. It's focusing way too much on abilities, which can be easily kind of like sustained, and then Shore Trooper's not going to be able to then put up his taunt or put up any crit immunity, so it puts you in a pickle against faster teams. So sometimes maybe to look into as Emperor lead because you're going to keep getting that turn meter every time you use kind of like debuffing attacks for the Empire.
Yeah, the other thing he said is you need to work on some better speed mods. that there's just no way around it. Your team only being 180 speed puts you at a disadvantage as well, because a lot of their faster tunes are going to go before you, and unless RNG goes your way, you're going to get wrecked. So
I mean,
that's something.
if you got somebody with a Stormtrooper Han even at like 230,
Right.
all of a sudden, I mean, and that's going up against the Stormtrooper Han, which we would probably consider maybe a little bit old meta. So yeah, without a doubt, mods are a big deal for that team that he needs to work on.
Mods and the characters you're using. So hopefully that advice gives you some ideas.
Definitely. So we'll go over a couple more questions. Is there any input that Bella or Warrior wanted to put in on that?
No, not on this one.
No problems. What about you, Warrior buddy?
Not really.
No problems. Let's have a look. So we'll take on 2 more questions, then we'll wrap it up. And I know I need to answer Turbos. Turbos is a good question because Turbos has a lot of Zetas at the moment. He has loads. He's quite he's kind of, I think he had like 50 or 60 or maybe 80 Zetas. And he wants to know who to do next, kind of thing. But we'll go on to this stun gun question. So we've got one from Adam Tron. How do you get stun guns? I want to get my first order up, but I can't seem to get stun guns or any sort of a reasonable rate. Who wants to go and take this one? Warrior?
So you can buy them in the store for 2,500 crystals. It's like 2460 or something like that crystals. It takes forever to save up your crystals to get one stun gun. And to be honest, that's why my Kylo's still where he's at, because I'm stuck on a stun gun. So the only other alternative is to just farm, for 120 frickin' pieces of, stuff to make up a stun gun. And there is no easy question. It's not like the typical god that you can pray to that brings stun guns, unfortunately. So you're going to get, the best thing for gear, and I'm telling you, this is a make or break situation for people, and they just don't understand until they get it and they go. You got to have a good league. You got a great guild, and you're doing multiple raids every single week, both AT heroic and the Rancor heroic. You're gonna get tons of rewards, and they don't always drop good, but the worst reward in a heroic is still better than anything you'll get at a T6 or below or on a normal AAT. So if you're not getting the stuff you need in gear, if you're not in a good team, you might want to consider upgrading to a better team. And I know that a lot of people are like, oh, well, I'm loyal and it's for 2 months and they're nice people. Your loyalty is to some strangers on a game that you have played for a couple of months. Come on now, you are complaining about gear, so go get a place that's going to get you better gear. Now you may not be able to jump up to a better guild because you may not a contributing member enough. You may have to grind it out for a little bit until you're worthy to get into a guild that's a little bit higher ranked and better. But that's where gear comes from. That and farming sucks. We all know that.
Yeah, farming is and you just have to focus on a character at a time, right? And with the gear you get from raids, you can use it for for those characters you're focusing on. Like I told you, I'm doing 3 or 4, but all the pieces I'm getting from the raids, I'm using for them, right? And then it's a slow grind. Gear is what stops characters from progressing. So you have to use them. Which are the ones you're using for. Especially, I always focus on PvP first. Get my PvP team set, and then work my way down from there. Right, with gear, for any gear I get from any of the raids we do. So there is no quick fix unless you just want to spend a ton of money. That simple. It's a grind. It's always going to be a grind.
Yeah.
You just have to keep raiding, doing the nodes, farming the pieces up. Remember to do your dailies. You get a lot of gear from those that are important. So that's pretty much it. You can't. There's no quick. Unless you want to spend money, there's no quick fix.
Definitely. Also, the question that we've got about the Zetas is, who should he Zeta up for the arena? So this is a big generic question. So we'll go with, who do you think is the best Zeta currently for the arena? And we'll start with, say, Warrior, and we'll work down to Ranger, Grande, Bella. If she's seen any, then I'll come back in to my end. So we'll give kind of our sense on who is our favourite, who is our best, and we'll start with Warrior.
I've got 4 characters Zeta, and I would say of all of the 4 I've done, I've got Zader, I've got Zal, I've got Zaris, and I've got Zin, Jin with a Zeta. And I would say that of all of them that I've got to try, Barris with a Zeta is the best.
Ooh.
Interesting. Have you seen any others like the Resistance Finn? Because I know you've seen that, haven't you?
I've seen it, but I haven't had to experience it personally going against it or actually having it myself. So just going off my experience, Barris is the best in my opinion for Arena now as a singular person. Although I would love to have Ray with Days and have that on Arena team and bring the Ray meta back. I think that would be fun, and I think she'd be very viable on an Arena team as they did.
Okay. And Ranger, did you want to go next?
Damn, Warrior always answers right before me and gives the best answers. I would say Barris is really good. Of course, Zader is really good too. It's a really viable, and that's kind of where the meta's leaning right now. So Vader, maybe with Boba Fett would be a good team comp to do. I am really curious about if we Zated a First Order team with all those that rework in its abilities, how it looks like on paper it's going to be pretty disgusting. I mean, they're going to be getting so much turn meter retribution, all this stuff, that it might be pretty dang amazing, but that's a lot of Zetas. So if we're just talking individual Zetas, I'm still kind of leaning toward Vader and Barris is the 2 that I look at.
Okay, cool. What about Grande? Are you still with us?
Oh yeah. So when we look at Zetas, I'm a big proponent for, secondaries and uniques Zetaing, and the reason why is because it gives you options. Whenever you Zeta a leader ability, that means you have to run that character, and you have to run that character as lead. That makes it that means you can't be more diversified in your team. So whenever I first start looking at what character I'm going to Zeta, I want to look at a unique or I want to look at a secondary ability. So keep that in mind whenever you're looking at those. That's why Barris looks so great, is because it's not a lead. That's why characters like Boba Fett look so great, because it's not a leader ability. And so make sure whenever you're looking at Zetas that you take that into account, that you get more flexibility out of a unique.
Definitely. What about you, Bella?
Yeah, it's exactly the same as Grande said. If you run a Zeta leader, then you're bound to use him. So I don't have anyone settled yet. I have 19 setters, so the next one I will be able to pick my first character. I'm currently thinking about Maul or Boba.
They're good. So we're like going back to the Resistance side of things, and this could be, well, not Resistance, First Order, and this could be a damper of why not to put 80 Zetas into them for the arena. Is we're in a dark time. We've got Sith coming. Darth Maul would absolutely destroy a First Order team with that Days. They won't be getting that turn meter. That he's going to be so much quicker. And this is if we just go on paper and logic of how the opening first turn's going to happen. So putting Nihilus aside or whatever Sith are coming, and we're not going to put them into any equation into this, but the equation being that if you've got an Emperor Palpatine going at 250 speed, say, there is no First Order unless you've got really, really kind of like God mods, with lots of speed. That's going to be like 100 speed. None of them are going to be able to go first, and if Emperor Palpatine then puts his stun down, then on top of that, you've also got then Darth Maul that's going to put a Daze. Why Daze is active on that team, they're not going to be gaining that all-important turn meter of what that team is. It's the opposite to how the Resistance work. They feed themselves turn meter from the inside, where Resistance would feed it from the outside. So that's going to cause a big problem if you are looking to kind of a Zeta, right? Zetas are great, and they seem to be, a lot of them are focused towards the AAT. Of kind of like scoring big. In the arena, most of them are beatable with the standalone squads that you got today. Rex trumps on both of them. Rex lead is really, really powerful, but you're going to need to have some Zetas. Maul is good if Nihilus is good. You know, if Nihilus fits right in with Maul, then that's going to be kind of like a big bonus to how the Maul Zeta is run. Maybe not for the Vader, depends on how Nihilus is built, depends what other Sith we see, and depends if Nihilus has a leader ability himself, which is more overpowered than Darth Maul. So I'd probably say wait until there is something like a new character, like a rework, and you think, yeah, that's what I want to go for, because I've got now 50 Zetas on the side, and say if they bring out this whole new kind of like team, bring out 2 new characters, then it may be worth putting the Zetas on them. Look, for example, then you've got Director Krennic with the Zeta and him. Yeah. Yes, most of us have him at the 4-star, well, probably like 99% of us have him at the 4-star kind of thing. But his leader ability is really good for the AAT, but we won't be able to experience that until he's more obtainable. But in the arena side of things, he's going to be gaining protection on the crit. So if you put TIE Fighter Pilot in there and you've got also the Death Trooper, then they're going to be critting a lot. So every time they crit, I think it's like 10% protection. So if you do an AoE, I believe then it's just going to keep piling up. So it's going to be quite a good defensive team if you've got that. But yeah, the Zetas at the moment, everything can seem to be countering everything. There is no one that's a god Zeta where it's the best Zeta, nothing can beat it. There'll always be rounds around it, and there'll always be ways around it because how the game's built and how it's worked to. Would you guys agree on that?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Cool.
I was like, oh yeah, sure.
So is there anything that you guys want to input before we kind of like clear up and kind of pimp everything out?
I think we've covered quite a lot of ground today.
What about you, Warrior?
No, I think we're good. We've covered a ton of ground as far as that goes, and I appreciate everybody for tuning in, and for everybody who will end up watching this later on. It's why we do it.
Definitely. What about you, Grande? You around?
Yeah, man, absolutely.
You're like the quiet one. You're not the one that's the breathing in the background. You're just there. I can never tell if you're still here.
I think we really appreciate everybody coming out, and thanks for asking all these great questions. You know, and keep playing and keep being positive.
Definitely, yeah. Definitely. So where we'll start with is, where can we find you, Warrior? What are you working on next? What are you doing on your channel?
So you can find me at Warrior from TeamInstinct.com or Warrior from Team Instinct on YouTube. And I'm really working on a bunch of different projects. I'm trying to do an in-depth on Darth Vader now that I have him Zeta'd. I've got kind of an alphabet soup working on to try and tell people about acronyms. I have a part 2 of the acronyms that are coming out. And then, of course, I've got loads and loads and loads of roster reviews, including yours, Smithie D. That's happening this week. Yeah. I'll be working on your roster review. And these are for my patrons. These are people who have gone above and beyond and spent a little bit of money to support my channel. And I don't expect that from anybody, but for anyone that wants to help me out, you know, I've got some green screen stuff I'm going to be possibly investing in soon. And I had computer stuff I invested in. So these guys are stepping in that gap and teaming with me, and so I'm helping do these roster reviews, which are extremely popular right now, and I'm getting hundreds of people asking for them. I just don't have time. I physically can't do 250 roster reviews. So
yes, you can.
No, I can't, dude. I'm way too busy for that. So I'm doing it for my patrons. You'll see a lot of roster reviews. The reason why we make them public and why the patrons are okay with that is they really want other people to learn from their roster, good and bad. It's surprising. They're like, I've made a lot of mistakes, and I want other people to see my mistakes, and hopefully they won't make those same mistakes. So there's a lot of vulnerability with those roster reviews. They're willing to have, and I think that's quite noble, actually.
I let Grande do that to me all the time.
With your algorithm video, Warrior, I gotta say, I loved that video, man. I found it probably more funny than maybe it was just me, but when just the stuff when you were like, it was great. I loved that. You know, CG means Capital Games. EA is Electronic
I have
Arts.
another one of those videos coming out. I have a part 2 to that coming out, And that's for beginners who, they're constantly on the forums and they're hearing people saying, oh, CG, EA, RNG, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, what the hell are these guys talking about? Like, they don't know our lingo. And so I thought, it's kind of silly, but we probably should put out a basic lingo video. And everybody can get on the same page. I had people that watched my last video that were like, I've been staring at CG every day when the game loads, and I didn't even know that CG, when people say that, it's referring to capital games. I didn't know, and I've been playing for a year. So, I mean...
They thought it was a character. Yeah, they thought it was a character or something.
Sorry. Well, yeah, I loved it anyway. I loved the video. It was great. I watched all of it, and I was laughing. I probably shouldn't laugh, but it was just awesome. It just reminded me of so many things in my life what I've seen before, and I was just like, oh, this is awesome. This is funny, man. So if you haven't seen it, and you already know what that is, go and check it out, because it's a good video, and it seems like Urban Blaster. He did a serious video on Biston, which kind of turned out a little bit wrong, because he sped up the video with him talking and him in the background. So he started sounding like a chipmunk for the whole kind of thing, and he's like, let's drink some blood on these fools, kind of thing.
It's so good.
So if you haven't seen that, make sure you watch that. That's got to be so far the video of 2017 where he's just sped it up, and he hasn't realised, or if he has realised, I don't know, but he sped it up that quick to speed up the gameplay. He sped himself up as well, and yeah, I don't know if he's noticed, but it was awesome. It made the video quality.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. I had me in stitches when I seen it. It was just because to me, I find him that he talks slow. So when he sped up to like 1.5 or 2.0, and he's just going, "Let's read some blood on these fools."
He's going real fast. Yeah.
It was stitches. So, who wants to do the RSG today? It was Ranger that did it last time, wasn't it?
Yep, it was Ranger. So I'll do it. So, Reality Skewed Gamers, you could find us here on YouTube, Reality Skewed Gamers. We do a live stream every Wednesday on this game, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Ranger and I do do some other games as well that are Star Wars related, Force Arena and some other games. So come check us out. We'd love to have people ask us questions. We have in-depth conversations about what's going on. It's because typically we get a kind of state of the game from the devs either on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. We have quite a bit to talk about. Smithie D is on that show quite a bit. Mage Ducky, and Urban Blaster. So if you wanna have a great laugh and be entertained and learn about the game, it's a great place to go.
Yeah, it is, man. It is.
One more couple things for that. We will be doing there's a couple announcements for the channel. We're going to be doing more live streams. So me and Grandi will be doing today, once I go work out and have my tax appointment. We will be doing a live Force Arena stream today.
That's right.
We will also be doing a live answer your PvP question stream today, because one of the things we've been doing is Grandi's been, I open up my tunes and he tells me what we need to do and we talk about it. But we've just been doing videos, but we'll get a buttload of questions afterwards.
They love it.
So we're like, well, we'll just do it on the stream, because that's what people want to know about their team. And then on Sunday, and this is going to be consistently, we'll be doing this on Saturday, and then Sunday, for all you ship entrepreneurs out there, me and Mage Ducky, 8 Central, I believe is the time. Just look on the channel, but we're going to be doing ships. Nothing but ships. We're going to answer your questions about ships, PvP, what ships are for things kind of like we do for this stream. So if you want to learn about ships, Mage Ducky is the expert. I'm just Igor, his assistant, as we go through this stuff. We will have a live stream tomorrow for that as well.
Cool. And I'd like to add on that as well, that it's a great show. So the one that I'm part of on Wednesday nights, it starts at 1 a.m. my time and normally doesn't finish till about 3:30 a.m. my time. So that says it all. I turn up every single week.
Insane dedication right there.
Yeah, I turn up every week. I love it. I love the chats. It's adult humor. It's literally everything that you'd want that isn't currently on YouTube for this game, and that's literally where you're going to have some serious talks, we're going to have some opinions, it's great. It is a great show, and I love to just come out, just come away from my channel and do the videos I'm doing, to go on there and just have a great laugh, with great guys. So if you haven't subscribed or even known what that is, then their description is in the comments below. And the same with Warriors, same as Remon. Go and check their channels out, subscribe. You're going to get the notifications. Once you subscribe to them, you're going to get notifications for their videos, so you can just go and watch them. Where if you're not going to checking them out, you're not going to see the great content they're putting out. So make sure that you do. We've got around about 100 people in here, so if you're not currently subscribed to them, go and check them out. So we're going to move on to Bella. Bella, do you have any... Are you going to start a YouTube channel? That's what we're wanting to know.
You've come to the dark side. Now go all the way.
Yes. I have come to the dark side. I'm just new to YouTube, so like live streaming, but I'm thinking about it. But for the moment, I'm very happy to be on the show. And if you want to find me, you just need to find Fear the Boot or ask Rande, ask Smithie. They know where I am.
Well, not literally though. We know where you are online. Yeah. It was a bad joke. Maybe it's like 4 o'clock here.
He's here all week, folks. He'll be here twice on Sunday.
Yeah. But yeah, if Bella does set up a channel, then subscribe to her too.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
I've got one already.
Oh wow!
Nice.
Wow.
Now you guys missed it last week. Finity, our troll expert in the channel, made a love connection. It was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, Dr. Finity, Doctor of Love.
I know. Dr. Finn Medicine Woman was getting hit on. It was kind of funny. We had Daz, we had love connection. We had all kinds of stuff going to the channel last week. It was insane. But I think that was the funniest thing. Like, who's the cute guy with the vest? We're like, huh? It was the dating game all of a sudden.
Right. That's it. So if you want to see more of that stuff, it is great. And they talk sometimes about spam and how to eat it with playing Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes.
Oh, God. Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. Do you not want to be reminded of the spam moment? Or the Dunkin' Donuts? So anyway, we're going to clear it there. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, then please do. You'll get notifications like this. You can't always see it if I put it online or put it through any other outsourcer. But if you're subscribed, it's going to come up as a notification. And that's going to be the same as everybody else that's in this stream. Thank you very much for everyone coming. And I really do appreciate it. If you can drop the like on the video, just because it looks cool. Because someone's already given us 2 dislikes. Like, why? Why?
We talked about that, man. There are just trolls out there that just like to give thumbs down, man.
I don't know what it is.
If you cannot go into the channel and give the thumbs down, what you need to do is you need to make a comment of why you gave a thumbs down. If you just give a thumbs down because you're a miserable person, then I feel bad for you, man.
Yeah,
Seriously. Yeah. But if you don't like something, offer constructive criticism. See, that's how things get better. But just giving something a thumbs down with no explanation, that's
pretty poor.
I get it all the time, I'm a big target for it. Literally, I'd put a video up for, say, 30 seconds, and someone's already given it a thumbs down, and they haven't even watched it. Probably because they don't like me making videos. Maybe that's it, and they're just like, I'm going to thumbs down this guy, and I'm going to stay subscribed to his channel, so I can give him thumbs down, and it's going to make him stop doing YouTube videos. But I'm sorry to say it's not,
Yeah, because the 800 million thumbs up you get kind of counteracts that. So... Might as well just leave a comment, say what you don't like, as long as it's constructive. Don't be an asshat.
And even thumbs down, thumbs up, they're both kind of like what is it? It's still kind of like press on your channel, so it's interaction. So yeah, but yeah. Oh whoa! Look at that! Someone give us a 3rd thumbs down. Oh well. Anyway.
Holy crap!
It's probably Finn just being a troll.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for everyone being today and coming along on your Saturday day. And you enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great weekend. I'm the Smithie D. I was joined today by Warrior, Grande Patron, Bella, Ranger, and I believe that's it. So we'll leave it there. You have a great weekend. May the Force be with you always.